Shattered John Tate's dream of an Olympic gold medal. Tate turned pro against Jerry Tompkins and started the slow process of learning what it takes to be a professional in the ring. He was crude and sometimes clumsy in the early days, and it wasn't that easy for John in the beginning. Against Eddie Lopez, he had to struggle for a split decision win. But last year, his name went up on the marquee with this first-round destruction of Dwayne Bobbitt. Then he battered Colli Conozzi from pillar to post to win a shot at the WBA version of the title. Finally, before 80,000 hostile fans in Pretoria, he showed his remarkable stamina and a smart fight plan that wore down South African Harry Coetzee and won the WBA heavyweight crown, a title that had been vacated by Muhammad Ali. Earlier, I had a chance to sit and talk with Big John. I asked him if he considers important to set the pace in tonight's fight.
I'm going to do what I want to do out there. And ain't nothing he can do to prevent me from not doing what I want to do out there. And I think that's very important in all fights, that going out and stabbing yourself in the early rounds, fighting the kind of fight that you want to fight, and be able to win with it. I think that's very important.
Well, there's all kinds of talk whirling in the heavens about the winner of this one going against Ali. First off, do you know if it's true?
Well, right now, I got my mind focused on Mike Weaver.
This has not been a distraction, all this talk about Ali?
No, because before I can let my mind exercise about fighting Mike Weaver, I had to defeat him first. And until I can defeat Mike Weaver, I need to think about knowing Ali, because it's going to be invisible for me to even think about fighting Ali until I beat Mike Weaver. If I don't beat him, it'll be Mike Weaver fighting. And if I beat Mike Weaver, I won't even attempt to think about Ali. He don't want this first I go.
There's a good deal of difference between fighting in Knoxville and Pretoria, isn't there?
There's a whole lot different, because in Pretoria, I couldn't get no Big Macs. And Knoxville, I can.
John, you're a man with a sunny disposition. How can you be so tough in the ring?
You know, being polite to people outside the ring is something that I work, you know, very hard at, because, you know, you don't bring your work home. And what I do is, when I'm on the streets, this relation to people, any kind of way far as that goes, I just try to be myself. And trying to be myself, that I don't see why that I could let my work reflect on the way I treat people. Because it's a different attitude when I step in the four corners, because I have a job to do. And to do that job, I get to take a different attitude about it. And the attitude that I take is the one that I want to win with.
Do you enjoy fighting for a living?
I enjoy the competition, because I have a point to prove. And that point is that I can beat anybody getting in front of me. Anybody.
All right, that's John Tate, Big Bad John, they call him around this neck of the woods, and he lives in the woods, as a matter of fact. Mike Weaver, an ex-Marine at 27 years of age, is the challenger out of Pomona, California. Let's learn something about Big Mike. There hasn't been a whole lot of glory for challenger Mike Weaver, especially early in his boxing career. He lost to Leroy Jones in this fight for the North American Boxing Federation title and continued to struggle in small clubs. His first impressive win was a knockout victory over Stan Ward. But Mike Weaver was not yet ready for the big time. He continued to pay his dues and continued to improve his boxing skills and to show power punching, like here against Oliver Phillips, took him right out of the ring. It really wasn't until Mike Weaver shocked the Madison Square Garden crowd by giving Larry Holmes a real battle for the WBC heavyweight title that people started talking about his ability and not just his impressive physique. He was no longer just Hercules. He had Holmes in trouble early, but then just ran out of gas in the 12th round, and Holmes stopped him. In his last fight, he showed improvement. In his jab, destroyed Scott Ledoux, and that set him up for another shot at another title. Earlier, I talked with Mike Weaver.
There are times, though, when a man has to push himself, really push himself beyond the barrier that he's never traveled before in order to exercise an opportunity such as you have. Have you driven yourself to a new level of physical and mental conditioning?
Yeah, I drove myself to the physical, I push myself. Where the time I used to run a few miles and they get tired and stop, I just push myself past that point. And then to the mental, I put myself to a mental peak too, believing that I have confidence and faith in myself. So I push myself both physically and mentally.
What about Mike Weaver, the man? What does this moment mean to you as a human being?
This fight right here means, everything to me, If I lose this fight, I might not get another shot at the title. It means, it means the dream, the prayer, and everything I had coming true. Tate made the champion today, Bob will be the champion tomorrow, so it means everything to me.
Means more than money, then?
Yeah, it means more than money, because, think about the world title, all that comes together. So it's not really, I'm just thinking about this fight on a money basic. It's something I want, the heavyweight champion of the world.
All right, those are the two men that'll be fighting for the WBA Heavyweight Championship. But what about John Tate? So much support for him here. Let's meet it up close and personal.
Big John. Big John. Every morning at the
Well, it ain't no mine for Big John Tate. He's chopping wood and working hard in the bucolic foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, preparing himself to defend his WBA Heavyweight Championship. He lives at his training camp, Ivy Glen, just outside the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. House tucked back in the woods, an environment he's loved since childhood, with an atmosphere and warmth of a lodge. It is business mixed with pleasure for John and his support staff. He calls them affectionately the Hillbillies. Having won the WBA Heavyweight Championship, just one of many goals John Tate has in front of him. Certainly one of the big goals to own both those championship belts, WBA and WBC. Easygoing, affable sort of a fellow, away from the ring, loves his music, works with it, relaxes with it. John says music and the great outdoors, just about all he needs these days to keep him happy.
Basically what I like to do is, when I have time off, is hunt and fish and, go camping, walking, hiking and stuff like that. Now I'm off into shooting, target shooting. I hope to, probably 1984, I might be able to go to the Olympics or something, shooting, handgun or something.
He might find Olympic target shooting about as demanding as the sport he's in right now, but he does have an Olympic medal. Bronze came from the 1976 games in Montreal. He lost in the semifinals to Cuba's Teofilo Stevenson at Montreal. John says Stevenson beat a child then. Now I'm a man. And the person who brought him along literally grew up with him, his manager-trainer, Ace Miller. The relationship between these two men has become more than just business.
The John Tate I know is, on the surface, probably too nice a guy to be in professional boxing. I say that because he's such an easy, manageable athlete. That's probably the reason why his rise to success as quick as he did. He told me one time, he said, being a heavyweight champion of the world is something like being president of the United States. And I said, that's a pretty good statement, John, because you are an ambassador for your country. You're an ambassador for this town here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Wherever he goes, people recognize him as a black athlete from Knoxville, Tennessee. Well, are other blacks like that, or what's the story,
John Tate feels that winning his title in South Africa did not give him the exposure to become the household word in the United States that he wants to be. But he says tonight, right here in Knoxville, his adopted hometown, he's going to start to change it. Well, he doesn't look so sunny right now as he comes into the ring at 232 pounds for his first defense. And he's going against a challenger who comes in at 207.5. So there is roughly a 25-pound edge for the champion, Tate. All right, now we'll have the introduction of the fighters. The ring announcer, Donnie Anderson.
Introducing the challenger, weighing 207 pounds, from Los Angeles, California, the #1 contender, Mike Weaver. His opponent, weighing 200 232 pounds.